it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and I'm back with another new layout to share for SpiegelMom Scraps. So I'm going to be making a nice summery layout today. I originally pulled out two sequin mixes to use, that's Frosty Evergreen and Guac Real Good, but by the end I end up bringing a third in as well because you can never have too much sparkle. So I bring in Carnation Bouquet towards the end as well. So like I said, it's a nice summery page and I'm going to use Cocoa Vanilla Studios Sunkissed collection. I wanted to have a large palm tree on my layout but couldn't find pattern papers that would work, so I've just used some A4 coloured paper. I've cut the leaves out on my silhouette machine as it was a little bit easier, and then I've just drawn the trunk on some brown coloured paper and just cut that out. I've done two sets of leaves, one on light green and one on dark green. I've offset the dark green so that it's just slightly larger than the lighter one, and then I've stuck the two together so you can just see kind of a border of the dark green around the leaves. And then I wanted to do a bit of paper folding as well. I've got quite addicted to this lately, and I've pulled out this patterned paper from the collection. It's a yellow floral one, and I thought it worked well because in my photo my little boy is stood in front of a kind of like a hedge or a bush that's got loads of pretty yellow flowers on. So I've pulled this paper out, I've cut a 4-inch strip, and then I'm scoring at every 1/4 of an inch all the way along. And then I'm going to create some valleys and mountains and fold it back on itself, kind of like a fan. And I'm going to make almost a semicircle, not quite, just to tuck behind my photo, just to bring in a bit more interest and some dimension to the layout. It just balances it out nicely, so I'll have that on the right hand side and the palm tree on the left with my photo kind of central on the page. So now I've got that paper folding done, I just need to secure it to something. So I've just cut a square of just white cardstock and I've opened it out and I'm just holding it in place. So I've put some quick dry tacky glue on there, and I'm just going to hold it in place for a minute or two just until it holds. So once that's dried in place, I can start working on building my layout out. So I've got my palm tree there. Obviously I want to add some bling to that. It needs a bit of sparkle to cheer it up. It looks a bit flat at the moment. So I've pulled out the Guac Real Good sequin mix. It's got loads of different greens in it, different shades. Some are sparkly, some are not sparkly. It's got some avocados. I'm just pulling out just one shade of green and I'm going to add a line of those sequins down the centre of each of my palm leaves. And what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description box below to the SpiegelMom store, and that link will give you an automatic discount at checkout. So any of these mixes that you see, if they're still available in the store, you'll be able to buy them via that link. And I really love how this palm tree is looking now. Rather than doing some shading with inks or anything, the sequins just give it a totally different look, and I really love that. So I'm going to pop that to one side just to let those sequins dry in place, and I'm going to work on adding just a couple of layers of pattern papers behind my photo, just to give it a bit of separation from that paper folded sort of quarter circle, semicircle. So I've pulled out one of the ombre papers. I had just a few scraps in my pack, so I thought I'd use those up rather than cutting into any more 12 by 12 sheets. So just building up a couple of layers behind my photo, not particularly making them neat or symmetrical or anything, it's just to add a bit more interest to that. And then I'm going to try and get things in position. I need to add a few embellishments around this photo, so I've fussy cut some of the florals from one of the patterned papers. And I've also got the ephemera pack here. I'm just going to try and pull out a few bits. I want to use this Fun in the Sun as my title, so I need to find a space for that. And I've pulled that sun out. I'm going to add that up to the top because obviously you've got a palm tree and it's a nice summer photo, so definitely need a sun. So just having a play with the bits of ephemera there, and I've decided I want to have a border, coloured pattern border behind my layout. So I've pulled out one of the papers and it's almost the exact same colour as my son's t-shirt in the photo, so that would work really well. So I'm going to add that in a minute. I'm just going to try and get a few bits stuck in place because I know I'm going to be adding a little bit of mixed media to the background, so I don't want to have to keep moving everything off the page to put some mixed media and bring it all back in and build it up again to see what it looks like. So I'm trying to just get what I can stuck together once I know where it's going to sit, and then I can just move it as sort of one big piece, which is a bit easier. So I'm building up some foam behind my photo here because that paper folded shape is quite dimensional. It's almost like 1/4 of an inch thick. My photo needs to be raised up to the same level as well. So I've added loads of just scrap offcuts of foam that I had in my drawer for that. And then I've just used a white gel pen just to add a bit of detail to my palm tree trunk, just make it look a bit more interesting, I suppose. And then I'm going to try and stick my palm tree together so that I've then got kind of 2 pieces I can move back and forth off the page as opposed to hundreds. But I want my palm tree to overlap that paper folded shape, so I need to add a bit of foam behind the centre of that as well, just to help raise that up to the same level. Now it's slowly getting there, I'm slowly building it all up just before I add my mixed media, getting those flowers stuck in place too. So I'm going to add that pattern paper border on very quickly before I do anything else. In all honesty, I was trying to avoid my mixed media. I knew I wanted to add a bit of colour to my background, but I really didn't know at this point what I wanted to do or what I wanted to use, what colours I wanted to use. So I basically faffed about and did everything I could rather than crack on with my mixed media. Does anyone else do that or just me? It does make myself laugh, but I know exactly what I'm doing watching this back. I'm faffing and trying to avoid that mixed media. I did want to have coloured something, I just didn't know what. So I'm just going to get this frame stuck in place first, faff about a bit more, and you can see I'm finger tapping trying to decide what to do. Now I'm having a tidy up. I will get there in the end. It's just whilst I'm doing everything else, I'm having a think about how I want my mixed media to be. So again, procrastinating and avoiding the mixed media, I'm now adding some sequins to my sun. So this is the Frosty Evergreen mix, and I'm just pulling out the larger yellow sequins, and I'm just going to cover the centre part of my sun with those. So I do all around the outside edge first because I want that to be quite neat and uniform. And then in the middle it's just a case of filling in the gaps. So I'm not going to keep going around in rings or anything, I'm just going to fill in the gaps now, here and there. And I'm using glossy accents to stick my sequins down because I find that's got a really strong hold. I've never yet had a sequin fall off of a layout that I've used glossy accents with, so it's always my go-to adhesive for sequins. So I've reached a stage now where I've kind of run out of things to do in avoiding my mixed media, so I need to make a decision and crack on with it. So I've pulled out a couple of distress inks. This is mustard seed, and I've got a blending brush here, and I've decided that obviously I've got that sun at the top. I've got my lovely palm tree kind of scene going on, so I thought I would add some yellow to the top half of the layout, just peeking out behind everything else, just kind of to look like sunlight really. So I'm just adding it a little bit at a time because I don't want to go too over the top, and just in a circular motion adding the colour around where the palm tree is going to sit on the top of that paper folding. And once I'm happy with that, I decide on pink for the bottom half. There is pink in my little boy's t-shirt, it's got some watermelons on him. and there's also some pink in the floral clusters I've Frosty cut, so I wanted to bring in a little bit more of the pink. So this is another distress ink, it's in picked raspberry. I'm not going to go too mad again, just adding a little bit of dry ink just where it's going to peek out underneath everything. And I've added a little bit more to the bottom than I did to the top because I'm going to bring in some of these ephemera pieces, so a lot of that will get covered up. But I wanted to have enough to make sure that it did show around the edges. So I'm pretty happy with how that looks now. I'm going to start getting these pieces stuck down, and it shouldn't take too long because I've done the majority of it, so it's just a case of sticking a couple of big bits down. So I'm just adding some glue to the back of this paper folded shape. I still keep calling it a shape, I'm not even sure what to call it. I've added a bit of glue to each of the folds. I would normally use a hot glue gun or something for this, but I really couldn't be bothered to turn it on and heat it up just for that. So I've gone with the quick dry tacky glue, and I'm just adding some adhesive foam behind my palm tree there just to raise those leaves up, and I'm going to get that stuck in place as well. So now I'm just going to pull back in a few bits from the ephemera pack and get those stuck in place. I've got this Fun in the Sun part there that's for my title, and I've added a little banner underneath my photo at an angle that says Sunny Smiles. I thought that was perfect for this photo of my little boy. And obviously a rainbow because it's a nice summery bright coloured layout, so I couldn't resist adding a rainbow. I've got a little sticker tab there that says So Happy. And then I'm just going through other stickers that I've got to see what I can add. I've got this sheet of tropical gold stickers here, just from a local craft shop. There's a few like palm leaves and there's a pineapple. So I've stuck those on, and then a couple of flowers that I've stuck on top of the floral clusters. I don't often use pineapples. It's one of the things in every summer collection I've ever bought. You always get watermelons and pineapples, and I always have them left over because I just find them a bit random. But this year my son's got some clothes that for like brand new clothes for our holiday, and they've got pineapples and watermelons on, which are just perfect because it's finally given me an excuse to use the fruity ephemera that you get in the summer collections. So now I'm actually wishing I had more in this Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection because they do work really well with some of his clothes. And then I've just brought in this third mix that I mentioned at the beginning. This is Carnation Bouquet. This and Oceanside Breeze, I think, are the most sparkliest sequin mixes I have ever seen. They are absolutely stunning. They are so iridescent and sparkly. I just absolutely love them. So I'm adding some of these to the bottom half of the layout where I've got the pink distress ink. Just adding a few in amongst those floral clusters and around the edges, just for a bit more sparkle, and just to kind of tie all the colours together there. And then once I've done that, I decided I've got sequins along the bottom section, so I need some more along the top. So I go back to Frosty Evergreen and just pick out a couple more of the golden yellow sequins, and just scatter a few around the top. Again, sticking those down with my glossy accents. And that is me done for today. That is my layout complete. So there will obviously be some close-ups for you at the end. But thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. Please do remember to hit the subscribe button if you don't already subscribe to SpiegelMom Scraps. You'll get all the lovely inspiration from all the other design team members as well that way. I'll leave some links in the description box for you. Obviously the first one will be the link to the store that will give you an automatic discount at checkout, so that's a good link to have and keep handy. That won't expire, so you can use that whenever you want to shop at the store with a discount. And I will also leave a link to the Spread the Sparkle Facebook group. If you're not already a member, do head over and join, have some fun with us. So thank you very much again for joining me. I'll leave you with the rest of the close-ups and I will see you next time.